Welcome into DRF Daily, DRF Sportsbooks betting live stream, coming at you every single day that there is football on. We're on. Yesterday we broke down Thursday Night Football, and what a terrible game it actually was. 12-7 ended up being the final score. Washington Commanders came out with the dub. But today, we're throwing that out the window. It's a palate cleanser today. We're breaking down one Friday night light game, UTSA against FIU, a Conference USA clash, and FIU, man, they are not good. But then stick around for our two top 10 matchups and something really special for today. All of these games are free. If you head to drf.com/sports, because it is such a big college football weekend, top 10 game between Michigan and Penn State, all that data is free. Top 10 matchup between Alabama and Tennessee, all of that data is free as well. And then, of course, UTSA FIU. It is our featured free game of the day, so all of that is free too. But I don't think you're as interested in UTSA FIU as I am as a sicko. I think is that what they're called? A sicko who loves Group of Five bad football. But, I mean, these top 10 matchups are absolutely phenomenal. I can't wait to go down into them. I have one really insane pick. I think it's insane. We'll see what the public thinks of it when we break down that game in just a little bit. But as a friendly reminder, follow us at DRF Sportsbook wherever you are on social media. Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. Follow us at DRF Sportsbook. We're giving out free data, line movements, our exclusive betting angles, industry-leading trends, everything like that we're giving out over on social media, and you do not want to miss a minute of it. And of course, as always, if you're in Iowa, check out DRF Sportsbook at ia.drf.com, or you can download the app on the Apple App Store or Google Play Store. We're Iowa's only local sportsbook. We're only live in Iowa, so we look at what you, the bettor, is doing, where you're placing your bets, what action you like, and we're making our odds boosts, our promos, our specials based off of that. You don't want to miss out. Some awesome new customer offers. And also, we like to keep you involved if you're already a customer. You know, DraftKings, FanDuel, sometimes they kind of throw you under the bus once you become a member. We don't. We want to keep you involved. So check out DRF Sportsbook at ia.drf.com or on the Apple App Store, Google Play Store, DRF Sportsbook. And of course, as always, we want to give you free money. And DRF Cash Grab, take it away on how.
Introducing the DRF Cash Grab app, the super easy, free-to-play sports predictor game from a name you know and trust. The Daily Racing Form. Use your sports knowledge to predict the winners, and you could score thousands of dollars in cash prizes. Pro football, college football, pro basketball, college basketball, hockey, soccer, boxing, baseball, and more. Compete against others for a spot on the monthly leaderboard. Download the DRF Cash Grab app and play today.
Awesome stuff. So let's go into today's slate of games. Starting things off, it's going to be UTSA taking on FIU in a Conference USA matchup that involves a 33-point spread. FIU, Florida International, one of the worst teams in college football. According to expected points added, EPA, they're 121st in the nation. Offensively, 120th. Defensively, 126th overall. And folks, in EPA, 131 teams qualify. That's not good. They're one of the worst teams in the league by a wide margin. The last time they came into a game this season with a 30-point spread, it was against Western Kentucky. And you know what happened? FIU lost by 73. FIU lost that game 73-0. We've had UTSA on DRF Daily before. We've talked high praises about Frank Harris and what that Roadrunners offense can do. I mean, they're the 37th most efficient offense in the nation. Their defense isn't great, but that offense is really, really solid. And I think this defense will look like world beaters tonight against FIU. FIU 1-11 against the spread against conference opponents the last 3 seasons. FIU, though, is 3-0 against the spread against UTSA since 1992. But, I mean, this is a completely different FIU team, so let's throw that out the window 100%. FIU 1-4 against the spread this season. They're not great. And like I said, they were a 30-plus point dog already once this season, and it did not end well for them. Our power line likes UTSA in this one, but only by 31 points. And estimate number 2 actually likes FIU to lose by only 21. But I'm throwing that out the window, and I know when I send a fade the data, I tend to get burned. But, I just think UTSA is far better than what their stats say. They have a plus 4.3 point differential. FIU has a minus 21.6 point differential. UTSA, good on the road. FIU, terrible at home. They lost to UConn at home already this season. They're 0-2 against the spread at home, 1-1 straight up, but one of those games, I believe, was like a D2 school, something like that. So I'm all over UTSA and the Roadrunners. I think they go into FIU. I think they dominate from start to finish. It is tough to cover a 33-point spread, regardless of being home or away, but it's even more difficult when you are the away team. However, I think UTSA, Frank Harris, what their coaching staff can do, I think they'll go into FIU and kind of mollywop them and destroy them tonight. I mean, FIU's not good. UTSA is trying to be the best team in Conference USA, and this is one of those games you have to go in and just dominate from start to finish. I might get burned on this since I'm not following the data, but there's absolutely no way in heck that I'm on FIU right now. So I'm going UTSA to cover the 33-point spread. And then from there, we're going to some fantastic Saturday games, folks. That's our one Friday game. We're going to keep that one quick. I know you guys aren't tuning into DRF Daily to listen to my breakdown about UTSA and FIU. You're here to listen to this top 10 matchup. Penn State travels to Michigan to take on the Michigan Wolverines. I forgot for a second who their mascot was. Michigan's the 7-point favorite. And then from there, we're breaking down Alabama, Tennessee, a top 10 matchup that is going to be a fantastic, fantastic game. I can't wait for that. But first, it is the Penn State-Michigan game. Penn State number 10, Michigan number 5? Why don't I know that off the top of my head? Michigan number 5. Michigan a 7-point favorite. And look, folks, our power line thinks Michigan's more like a 13-point favorite. Isn't that insane? Estimate number 1 likes Michigan to kind of blow out PSU. Estimate number 2 kind of likes Michigan to blow out PSU. And folks, I'm siding with the data here. I'm on Michigan -7. I think this is a competitive game, but I think Michigan's going to pull away late. They have the better offense you see here. They have the better defense. Offensively, they do 6.9 yards per play. They only allow 3.9 yards per play on defense. They don't allow more than 12 points per game. They actually allow just 11 points per game. Since 1992, Penn State is 2-18 against the spread against teams that allow less than 12 points per game. Michigan's 4-0 against 4-0 straight up at home, but just 2-2 against the spread, and they have looked a little shaky in their last few games. And I'm looking at you, Indiana game. I'm looking at you, the Iowa game. I know Iowa has a great defense, but Michigan, if you're a top team in the country, you got to go into those and blow them out. They're 1-1 over their last 2 against the spread. Penn State 2-0 straight up and against the spread on the road this season. It's going to be a great game because James Franklin, he's 20-3 against the spread after not covering the previous game, but still winning. And that's exactly what happened last time. And Penn State's rush defense, it eats up opposing rushing attacks. And that's where Michigan really likes to get their game going. They average 5.4 yards per rush, and that's kind of the lifeblood of that team. Penn State allows less than 1.5 yards they allow less than 100 yards per game. Sometimes these breakdowns are a little crazy. So Penn State allows less than 100 yards per game. They allow 82 yards per game, which is about 3 yards per rush. Last game, they held the opponent to under 1.5 yards per rush. And historically speaking, since 1983, you're going to want to bet on an underdog of 3.5 to 10 points when they're coming off of a game like that, because they're 60-25 against the spread. But I think historically speaking, they don't necessarily know the Penn State, Michigan stuff. This is like analytics. The evidence tells you where you should go, but you also got to take in a little bit of the human element as well. Michigan's been on the road the last 2 weeks. This spot is huge for the Wolverines. They've been on the road. They've looked a little shaky. I mean, Michigan wants to be considered the cream of the crop in the Big Ten, right? And in order to do that, they're going to have to not only win this game, but I think they're going to have to destroy Penn State. I don't think they destroy Penn State by any means, but I do think Michigan wins this game, and I think they cover. Michigan -7 is the play. If you come over here, look at the line, only 27% of the public is on Michigan -7. The line has not moved a lot, so this line's about the same. Money coming in equally, probably on both sides. I just think Michigan in this spot is the better team, and they've been hearing it the last couple of weeks that they're not all they're cracked up to be. They struggled against Indiana. They struggled against Maryland. Maryland had them on upset alert. And then Iowa wasn't as dominating of a win as they wanted to. Granted, it was at Kinnick. That's a tough place to play, and Iowa's defense is damn good. But I think this is a game Michigan's going to come into, and they're going to want to make a mark. It gives me almost Michigan State. I believe it was last year when both teams came into it ranked, and Michigan just kind of ran away with it and destroyed them. So I'm going to say Michigan -7. I'm going with the power line. Our power line likes Michigan -13. I agree with that. Estimate number 1 likes Michigan to win 38-17. Estimate number 2 likes Michigan to win 35-21. Both of which give the edge. This is a complete gold star sweep for the Wolverines, and there's no way I can fade that. Michigan -7 all day, every day, and I feel really, really good about that. And now, last but certainly not least, it's time for our featured free game of the day for tomorrow. It's time for our featured free game of the day, Alabama against Tennessee. Tennessee is a 7-point home underdog in Neyland. I just got to say, man, this game gets me so excited. I think this is going to be one of the best games of the year. Maybe I'm overhyping it. And clearly, I thought Alabama was going to run away with the Texas game, and that was the game of the year. I thought Alabama was going to run away against Texas A&M, and that would turn out to be a great game as well. And that leads me into why I think this game is going to be so good. In Alabama's 2 biggest games this season, they've struggled. Granted, Texas A&M was without Bryce Young, and Texas, granted, was without Quinn Ewers. So who's to say? But Bryce Young is now questionable for tomorrow's game. I believe it's a 3:30 kick at Neyland in Tennessee, in Knoxville. But Bryce Young's questionable. He's still dealing with that AC joint sprain that he suffered against Arkansas. Didn't play last week against Texas A&M, and Alabama didn't look too hot. We don't know. It'll probably be a game time decision. We probably won't know until an hour before kickoff. He'll probably go through warmups, and we really won't know. If Bryce Young, though, isn't playing and he is doubtful, if his injury status changes to doubtful or out, this line's going to move a lot. This line's probably going to go from Tennessee +7 to Tennessee +3.5, something like that. It's going to cut down drastically. And I'm going to tell you right now, before I break down the betting angles and break down what this game means and break down why I think it, I'm just going to tell you off the jump. I'm on Tennessee money line. Tennessee's +220 money line, and I'm all over that. If you look here, the power line likes this one right where it is. They think Alabama -7. Estimate number 1 thinks Tennessee loses by 10. Estimate number 2 thinks they lose by 6. So nothing too crazy in terms of what the data thinks. It's probably right on the money. But there's just something about it. Tennessee will be without key defensive back Jalen McCullough because he was arrested. So that is something to keep in mind. And, Tennessee hasn't been great at home against excellent defensive teams. And we're going to define that by they allow less than 285 yards per game. You see, Alabama allows 251 yards per game, 3.8 yards per play. They're 5-22 against the spread since 1992 at home in that scenario. So that does worry me. Josh Heupel, though, is 8-1 against the spread in home games against teams that average 60+ penalty yards, and that's where I'm really keying in on this. Alabama hasn't looked crisp. Alabama hasn't looked like the Alabama that we know. They've had some penalty problems, especially in big games. Just look back at that Texas game. That was a big reason Texas was in it, even without Quinn Ewers late in that one. I don't think Alabama has enough in the tank to beat Tennessee. Tennessee is one of, if not the best team in the SEC right now, if you're looking at it from a EPA measure, efficiency measure. Hendon Hooker is in the Heisman running. Bryce Young, unfortunately, no longer really in the Heisman running because of the injury. Tennessee's the 5th best team in EPA. They're 4th in offense, 13th in defense. Alabama's offense has struggled. this season. And by struggle, I mean they're 26th in EPA this season, which is a better than, over 100 teams. But for Alabama standards, not necessarily where they want to be, but they are 4th in defense, and that's a big reason why they've been winning games. They're 7th overall in expected points added, according to CFB graphs. But I think Tennessee is going to go into Neyland. I think they're going to feed off of the energy of the stadium, and home field advantage matters so much more in college football than it does in the NFL. And Tennessee plus 220 looks like an amazing best bet to me. Tennessee 5-0 this season, 4-1 against the spread. Alabama 6-0, 4-2 against the spread. Give me the Volunteers to win this game. And I might be crazy for thinking that, but I think Hendon Hooker is a fantastic quarterback, and I think he's the better quarterback in this game. Even if Bryce Young plays, I think he's better than an injured Bryce Young. Josh Heupel's a fantastic coach. I'm not going to go out on a limb and say that he's better than Nick Saban, but Josh Heupel's a darn good coach. And I mean, Tennessee, their defense is right around the same area as Alabama's. They allow just 18 points per game, just 5.2 yards per play. And these two offenses very similar. Alabama has a little bit more of a cupcakeness to it. Tennessee's played some teams. Tennessee's, already taken down a few ranked opponents. If we look at the results so far this season, Tennessee's taken down Pitt at Pitt. Tough game. They went and they hosted Florida, won that one by 5. And then just last week, they went to LSU in Baton Rouge, number 25 LSU, and just destroyed them, won that one 40-13. So that's why I'm on Tennessee plus 7. I think Alabama's a really good football team, but I don't know if they have a banged up Bryce Young, or even if he doesn't go, even more so. I think this line drastically moves very quickly. Give me Tennessee plus 220 to win this game, and I absolutely love it. I can't wait for that game. I'm so excited for it. 3:30 kickoff, I believe on CBS. But it's a 3:30 kickoff. And before we get up on out of here, as always, we got to recap the best bets. Last time out, we went 1-3. We were on Bears, didn't hit. We were on Justin Fields over rush yards. That hit. I don't want to talk about Carson Wentz and Justin Fields pass yards. Tonight, we're on UTSA minus 33 at FIU. That's going to be a tough one, but we got to keep that game somewhat interesting to be on the edge of our seats until the very end. We're on Michigan minus 7 against Penn State. Michigan's numbers are far better than Penn State's numbers, but that is a little bit inflated due to Michigan's cupcake schedule. But I think Michigan's been hearing all the talk the last few weeks. Near upset against Maryland, and they didn't look great against Indiana. They didn't look great against Iowa. Now they're back home, and this is an opportunity to put a stamp on their season, have a signature win, and take down number 10 Penn State at home. Big-time spot for the Wolverines. And I'm on Tennessee money line. Throw out plus 7, plus 7.5, whatever your book has. Give me Tennessee money line, plus 220 to beat Alabama. Let's make our Saturday fun. Volunteers all day, every day. So excited for this weekend's games. We'll be back potentially tomorrow morning, Saturday morning. If not, we'll be back Sunday morning breaking down a full NFL slate, and we can't wait for you to join us. Have a wonderful rest of your day. See ya.